This is my grandfather Walter, and he likes to read Reddit stories.
I, female 25, am almost 30 weeks pregnant with a baby boy. My fiancée, 28 Ma, engaged before the pregnancy, and I didn't plan this to happen so soon, but we both knew we wanted kids and are beyond excited, even if we're less prepared than we should be. My dad, male 52, got remarried to my stepmom, female 47, 15 years ago. He will never admit it to me or my other two full siblings, but she was the woman he was having an affair with. So there's some obvious lack of trust that will always exist there. The stepmom and I aren't close. I find her very disrespectful, but we play nice for my dad's sake. He is madly in love with her, and I don't completely fault him for the affair, because his marriage with my mum was horrible and riddled with abuse from both sides. He is much happier now than he was with my mum, and I respect his right to be happy even though they all kind of messed up aspects of my childhood. It is what it is. But here's the issue. I am now hearing from my younger sibling, female 17, that my stepmom has been saying very inappropriate things about my life choices. She has said how irresponsible it is to have children before I am married, how selfish it is for me to bring a kid into the world before completing college and being stable, been on a hiatus due to finances. She even referred to me as a single mum at one point. She seems really concerned about my finances. Fiancé and I collectively only make probably $40,000 a year USD, but hasn't offered any assistance. My dad and stepmom are both highly educated and make over $700,000 a year. Not that I would ever accept their help anyway. Anyway, these comments have been going on behind my back for months, and I am really hurt that my dad hasn't stood up for me at all. She is saying these things to my little sister, and my dad's two younger kids too. It's just making me look bad and really hurts to hear. So would I be the idiot if I told my dad he can't meet my boy until he can make all the cruel judgments stop? My fiancé doesn't want her to meet our son at all, and we agree that's fair, but should I punish my dad too? I'm just super hurt. Also, if anyone asks about the credibility of my younger sibling, I trust her. My stepmom also said these things to me when my older sister got pregnant at the same age as I am now, so there is no doubt that these things aren't true. Edit. People keep pointing out the obvious, so I'm going to address it here. $40,000 is not a lot of money for two people. I am aware of that and am actively looking for better work. So is my fiancé. And he's making most of that right now as I am getting too pregnant to work as much. I already have plans to complete my final semester of my undergrad degree. Yep, just one left. I'm in STEM, so I plan to get my master's after this. The cost of living in my area is very low. For example, my rent is $550/MO, so we are not currently struggling, but could after having the baby, so of course I would like to do better, and will. The point of this post is the intentions of her words. Obviously I'm not going to keep messing around when I have a baby on the way. Both of us have worked 2 jobs each up until recently. I dropped down to 1. Edit 2. I just want to thank everyone who responded with kind words. I didn't expect so many responses, so I am unable to respond to all of them, but a lot were very uplifting and kind, and I think that's the validation I needed today, and those who just provided constructive criticism and advice, even if it wasn't what I wanted to hear, it's still appreciated. I have decided I will probably let my dad be a part of my son's life, because grandparents are important, and he's lucky to have 2 full sets, but I will just try to talk to him soon. Some of these responses have given me good tips on what questions to ask and how to ask them, so I'm super grateful. I'll go from there to decide if I should even request he talks to her about her trash talking, or if I'll just go straight to cutting her off completely. I'll use my best judgment. Thanks again for all the nice people. It's silly, but a few of these comments were already more supportive than that whole side of my family, so I teared up a bit. I wish everyone well, except the guy who called me a poor breeder. That was just classist and gross, lol. Now for the next story. I, 58-year-old male, and my daughter, 27-year-old female, are in a huge argument over money. A little background first. My ex-wife and I divorced before she was 1 year old. Custody fights were brutal until she was 9. Her mum lived in an apartment on the rough side of town, and when she was with me she had an upper middle class life. She had ponies and private coaches for sports she liked. Her mum liked to make me out as the bad guy to her. Yes, I probably tried to make sure she knew I was not what her mother told her. When it came time for college, she had a full scholarship to major institutions, including one where I went as an undergraduate and another where I did postgrad. Her mother told her she should never pick a school that I went to. In the end, she picked a college where she got a 20% scholarship. I told her that was her choice and she would need to work to cover the cost. I also gave her a $500 a month allowance. After graduation and through grad school, I continued doing that, After she moved on and was working, the only time I saw her was when she needed money for something. After never returning calls or texts I sent, she shows up at the house. During her stay, I asked when she thought her student loan payments would be due and how much. She said they would only be around $200. In hindsight, I was foolish in offering to pay them for her. She then said her mother was just finishing college and will I pay her loans also. I explained we had been divorced for over 20 years and that what her mother does is not my responsibility. My daughter blew up and said that was unfair because I had done much better than her mum and I need to help her. She then said she never wanted to see me again. Am I the idiot for saying fine, then don't show up looking for money for car repairs or anything, and that she needed to get her phone off my cell plan? Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot, but I can't fathom why a parent would encourage a child to turn down a full ride scholarship and have their child starting out saddled with debt. We live in America, and education, like healthcare, is ridiculously expensive, especially when there was an alternative. It seems as if she had more scholarships than just the schools you matriculated at. Your daughter uses you for money and doesn't respect you. She respects her mum, and that is the only parent she listens to. She feels as if you owe both of them. It's up to you to figure out if that's the price you want to continue to pay to have her in your life. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Daughter made poor choices. Ex-wife is not your problem. Daughter at 27 is no longer your responsibility. You helped her through undergrad and grad school. Poor choices like declining full scholarships are what lead to being in a better or worse financial state. Now she wants you to bear the consequences of her poor choices and support your long-gone ex. You can let her walk away guilt-free. I would recommend some sort of middle path where you can both cool off and maintain a relationship, but not at the expense of being emotionally and financially manipulated. Comment 3. Your daughter is 27, as in almost 30. Even if she wasn't being an entitled person, it is still time for her to manage her own finances without you. But if ever any of my kids thought I should pay for any other adult's loans and threaten no contact if I didn't, I'd cut them loose. I love my kids, but I won't put up with that kind of BS from anyone. Now for the next story. Many of you asked for an update. She just left my flat, so here I am with one update. Not sure if it's good or not. I'm terrified. I wanted to wait to tell her until we met because it's nothing I could just text her about. We had dinner and it felt good sitting there and chatting about how our week went. We made love because, honestly, I thought if she broke up with me after finding out who I was, I wanted to at least be with her one last time. I wanted to memorize every detail of her and every moment with her. When I told her, she just looked at me confused and then she said, "No, you're taller than that guy." Anyway, I told her everything, and yeah, she hadn't forgotten about that night. She said that she and her then boyfriend went home instead, and they discussed what happened. Her boyfriend had guessed it right, that I was jealous of him, a white boy dating her. She said that he had then told her how men from our background were usually hostile towards him, so I wouldn't be the first. She said that she was very sad and felt embarrassed, but they talked about it, and they came to the conclusion that I was just a little boy, that for some reason wanted to use that little power I had over them, and laughed about it. She was very calm remembering all this, and she wasn't resentful or bitter, she just looked curious and so beautiful. She then asked me if I still would want to use or misuse if I someday got a little bit of power. I told her no, and that night was a turning point for me, that I thought about her and what I had done, and it woke me up and made me realize how angry and bitter I was. I told her she helped, unknowingly, make me a better person. We laid in bed for about an hour afterward without talking, just listening to music, and she looked like she was in her own world and I didn't want to disturb her. She then said that she was going home. I felt my heart shattering in my chest and I wanted to tell her that she was supposed to stay the weekend, but I bit my tongue. Before leaving, she told me she loved me and she kissed me. Then, about an hour later, I got a text from her. "What if our daughter brought a white or black person home? Would you do to her what you did to me?" The thought of having a daughter with her melted my heart. I told her that I would welcome any partners that made my children happy. She texted me then that she loved me. She was supposed to stay the weekend here, but she has left and said nothing about meeting up any time over the weekend. I will not pressure her, but I don't want to lose her. She wasn't angry or hurt, or at least I didn't get the feeling that she was. I hope she forgives me and her love for me is strong and weighs more than my petty behavior 15 years ago. Good night. Wish me well because I have never been this happy with a woman before. Now here are the comments. Comment 1. She's probably feeling emotionally vulnerable because she knows you wanted to make love and then tell her. That could feel quite manipulative and, as you admit, putting your sexual and romantic wants before her emotional well-being. That's the only thing that would affect me about this. Comment 2. I was totally rooting for you up until the part about needing to sleep with her one last time in case she left you. Honestly, that was the sleaziest thing you did between both your posts, and is really indicative of you really not having matured as much as you think. You're the idiot. Comment 3. It's really gross that you slept with her before revealing the truth. You're still a manipulative little poop. You haven't grown. Still putting your own wants above her needs. So gross. You're the idiot. Now, for the next story, I don't know how to start this. It's very complicated and intertwined, and I'm very bad at putting my feelings into words, and even if I did, I don't want to make this too long for you guys. So I will try to compress it to a few paragraphs, and I will answer any questions for additional details that you deem necessary. My husband and I had some marital issues after the birth of our second baby. There was no lack of love or affection, at least that's what he told me. We still loved each other and we were basically in a rough place. My husband met his now girlfriend at work and I guess he developed some form of feelings for her and her for him. He came to me one day and said that he loved me so much, but that he wanted a break for a few months because we needed to work on our issues separately. I was heartbroken, but I agreed, thinking we were going to work on our marriage. Not a week later, I heard he was sleeping with another woman. I filed for divorce and haven't seen him since. This was all 3 years ago. Our divorce was finalized 2 years ago. He has tried throughout the years to get in contact with me, but I refuse to even open his emails because I miss him and I know what he would be saying. Empty apologies and apologies. For me, he cheated even if not everyone agrees because we were on a break. His girlfriend contacted me now, asking me to forgive him because, according to her, he is refusing to make their relationship official. According to her, they love each other, but he is refusing to propose or start a family with her because he feels guilty for what he'd done to me. He tells her they didn't deserve happiness, and she thinks it's all my fault. I just wrote, "Please don't contact me again," and blocked her on Facebook. She used an alternative account and wrote that I'm bitter and vindictive. Am I the idiot for refusing to help my ex's mistress play family with him? How is that even on me? Now here are the comments. Comment 1. Bitter and vindictive. That's rich coming from a home-wrecking whore. Not the idiot. You owe them nothing. Edit, because I'm tired of responding to this. Whether or not you think the AP is culpable, whether or not you think the ex told the AP, OP does not owe her ex forgiveness for the sake of appeasing his new girlfriend. That's for them to work out and is not OP's problem. And refusing to forgive someone isn't vindictive. She doesn't owe either of them anything. She's not even bothering them. Explain to me which part is vindictive. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I'm very proud of you for divorcing. Too many people will put up with this misery. And sorry, but my opinion is, when you are married and on a break, you are still married, so his cheating isn't okay. You thought you were going to reconcile. There was no conversation about seeing other people. You don't owe him or his girlfriend anything, and the fault is his. He cheated while you were thinking you were working on your marriage. Just ignore these fools. Comment 3. I think your ex-husband has zero interest in marrying this woman and is using this whole forgiveness thing as a way out. I wonder what would happen if you said, "Sure, I forgive him." One thing I don't understand is his relationship with the children you had together with him. Does he not see them at all? Now for the next story. I've been in her son's life for the past 4 years, since he was 2. He already calls me Dad. All that's left is to make it legal, but my wife thinks that the decision to make it legal should be up to her son, but wants to wait till he is old enough to make that decision, which I think is completely silly, right? She also doesn't want any more kids, which I've come to terms with. I'm at a loss now. I don't know what to do. I also heard from her friend that she doesn't want to make it legal because if we divorce, she doesn't want to have to fight me for custody. Edit. She changed her mind about wanting more kids because of her career. I accepted it and we compromised on letting me adopt him. But now she's stalling. The bio dad has never been in the picture. She doesn't even know who he is. Update. She has agreed to let me be the legal guardian in case anything happens to her. And we will continue to wait till he is old enough to decide if he wants to be adopted. This is not what I want, but I'm willing to compromise. Thank you all for your comments. Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot, but you need to add more details to this post. People think you are coming from a possessive point of view when, in fact, your wife is being unfair. She promised she wanted kids, and now she's saying no. I think it's also very telling that if something happens to her, she wants your little boy to go only to her sisters. That, to me, means she doesn't see you as his father, and she's protecting herself in case of divorce. All while you are the primary caregiver as she travels for work. You need to decide if you can live like this or not. Decide if you could handle suffering a divorce and losing all contact with your young son. Decide if you're really okay without any more kids in your life. The adoption conversation is the least of your worries. Does your wife really love and respect you, or does she see you as hired help? Comment 2. As a stepmom to 2 kids who tragically lost their bio mum a number of years ago, after their father and I got married, he sat me down and told me that God forbid, if anything happened to him, he'd want me to raise his kids and love them like my own. A while later I expressed the desire to properly, legally adopt them when the right time comes around, and it was honestly one of the biggest moments of my life. I'm crying again thinking about how happy that both made us. So yeah, there's something off here. Comment 3. So let me get this straight. You love this little boy so much that you want to legally adopt him, but you're considering sacrificing your relationship with him if you don't get your way right now. This doesn't make sense to me. If you divorce your wife, you have no rights to that boy, and you may never see him again. What's more important, the relationship with your son or a legal document? Sorry, my dude, but you're the idiot here. Edit. Fixed typos. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.